If you own a home in Hebron, you've probably wondered, how much is my home worth right now? And depending on your property, the answer could vary by up to $100,000, even between houses on the same street. In this video, I'm going to explain how home values in Hebron actually work, what drives price here, and how to estimate your home's value realistically. Let's go. Let's talk about the home valuation tools. Everyone uses Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and there is some value in them, but know that they are approximations. They are guesses based on an online algorithm. They don't know the specifics about the property. And I didn't even spend much time on this. I literally just picked a house near mine, but let's check this out. This house, 103 Hillcrest Road here in Hebron, Zillow has it at $381. Redfin has it at $414. If you can see that, $414. And Realtor.com has it at $426. So which one's right? How do you get $381 or $426? That is close to a $50,000 difference on a possibly $400,000 house. That's pretty dramatic, and I could probably spend time finding more dramatic. I just took a few seconds, but just wanted to share that as an example where, depending on what you're looking at, the online valuation tool, because it's just an algorithm, an educated guess, without seeing the property and knowing the ins and outs of it, the location, it's just a guess. So use the online valuation tools out of the ballpark, but know that I've seen them be up to 20% off. So take it with a grain of salt. Let's talk about what actually determines value here in Hebron. Number one is going to be location within town, right? Is it in the Amston Lake District? Is it in a rural neighborhood? Is it on a cul-de-sac? Is it in downtown on 85 and 66? Those are all factors that are going to play a role in the overall price. Number two, lot size and land use. Is it 1 acre, 3 acres, 5 acres, 10? All of those are going to determine what you can actually do with the land. And then on top of that, is it usable land or is it wetlands? Is it flat or is it steep? Is it private, right? If you have a 10-acre parcel that's narrow and deep and you can stand in the house and see your neighbors, someone looking for privacy, that's not going to appeal to them. So privacy is going to play a role also. Number three, the size of the home, meaning the square footage. And on top of that, the layout. Most buyers today, depending on the size of the family and their budget, are looking for at least 1,500 square feet. I also work with larger families looking for 2,800 to 3,000 square feet, and sometimes more. And most buyers today, they're going to want move-in ready. They're going to want an open floor plan, space for a home office, an updated layout. So an old colonial with small rooms that's all closed off, they're generally going to sell for much less than a home of the same size and square footage that's been updated and opened. Number four, the condition of the home and the updates. Major things that are going to contribute to value: kitchen updates, bathroom updates, the age of the roof, the age of the HVAC system, the condition and age of the windows, and the flooring. Right? People are looking for houses in Hebron, and when they are going to price in those updated renovation costs. So if they're looking at replacing a roof or something, they're going to kind of take that off the top, knowing they're going to have to pay for it, and it'll sell for less because that's a cost they're going to incur after they move in. Number five, are there any well or mechanical system upgrades that they're going to have to do? Right? Those are all things they're going to price in, or are those things all updated, in which case they'll pay more for it? So all those things are going to play a role in the valuation. And when you're valuing homes, you have to take all those things into account. Right, so let's look at a little bit of data for the Hebron market. Right, this is median sale price here in Hebron. As you can see, from 2024 to 2025, median sale price went up 11%. And from 2025 to 2026, 8%. Median sale price in Hebron currently sitting at $475,000. Now, a couple other things that are worth pointing out. Number of new listings have been trending higher, good news for buyers is that inventory is trickling up. Number of homes on market in any given month also trickling up. Also good news for buyers here in Hebron. Number of closed sales also trending higher. That's good. One thing I would love to point out here, in the past 12 months in Hebron, there were 103 closed sales, but there were 118 listings. That means 15 houses that were listed did not sell. They didn't actually close. The listing ended up expiring, which typically means that the property was overpriced and it stalled and it got no traction and it ultimately didn't sell. So let's continue. Let's look at days on market. Right now in Hebron, now this is over the past 12 months on average, median days on market has been 6. Average days on market has been 22. How can it be so dramatic? Well, median is going to be the middle between the lowest and the highest. So we're seeing 6. Average is going to be all the days on market and 1 divided by the number of listings. So when it comes to an average, if you get a couple of listings that were on the market for 300 days because they way overpriced it or it was in terrible condition and it never sold, that's going to skew the average. So you end up getting things like 22 days on market. This is more accurate for most listings here, 6 days on market, as long as they are reasonably priced. And then what's things doing recently? In February, days on market in Hebron was at 7. And lastly, percent of list price received. Last month, the homes that sold in Hebron sold for 1.3% over list price. If we go with some more data and look at over the last 12 months, well, practically the same. Over the last 12 months in Hebron, houses have been selling for median sale price of 1.7% over list, average of 3.8% over list. So we are still seeing homes selling for over list price in Hebron, anywhere from, it looks like 2 to 4% over list price. All right, now let's look at some data. What is the biggest mistake I see sellers make when listing their home in Hebron? Pricing it too high. Pricing it based on an emotional feeling or pricing it based on active listings. Because at the end of the day, you can list a house for whatever you want. Doesn't mean that it's going to sell. Here is a perfect example. Let's look at, this is everything right here, these green ones, active, everything actively listed in the town of Hebron. And let's go over and check this out. Days on market. 38, 24, 52, 1. So this is a new listing. 38, 205, 122, 24, 38. Remember, we saw median days on market for a sale was 6. So these houses are all on the market for much longer than median or even average days on market. And it's probably because they're overpriced. And let's look at something even more interesting. This stat sheet shows these are all the active listings. Average price, $661, with a $324 price per square foot. Now, those are active listings that, as we saw, are sitting on the market for a very long time. Well, let's see what actually sold. Here's all 102 listings that actually sold in Hebron in the past year. Well, 94 sold. Average sale price was $495 at $260 a square foot. So the numbers don't lie. The houses that aren't selling that are sitting on the market are probably overpriced. Right? Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, that truly determines the value of your house, is what other comparable sales that are similar as possible to have sold for. What they're listed for has no bearing. So let's actually do this. Let's go check out the map. right? Because here's another thing that you find super interesting. Like I'm just going to pick random ones. Here's two houses right across the street. One sold for 401, one sold for 464. So let's take a quick look. 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,345 square feet on 1 acre. It's a Cape Cod, built in 1965. It was listed for $355 and sold for $401 in 4 days on market. Right across the street is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,200 square feet, 1,800 square feet above grade with a partially finished basement. Also a Cape, built in 75, so similar time frame, but substantially larger. Was listed for $424, sold for $464 in 6 days on market. So here's two houses straight across the street from each other that sold $63,000 apart. And then just right down the road, you have this property. 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,172 square feet on 1 acre, built in 1965. It's a raised ranch. It was listed for $240, but sold for $216 after 24 days on market. So here you have three houses that could all look at each other right next door that sold for a very distinct difference. Or let's check out a different example. Here is a little subdivision. Here are a couple houses right next to each other. We got 650, 635, and 801. So let's take a look. This house, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,015 square feet on 1 acre, all above grade, built in 1997. This house was listed originally at $675, then lowered the price to $649.9 or $650 and sold for $650 after 20 days on market. And right next door to it, you have this house, 4-bedroom, 3 full, 2 half baths, 4,700 square feet, all above grade. Built same time, 1997. And this house was listed for $849, sold for $801 after 27 days on market. And then this one right around the corner, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,500 square feet, 2,150 above grade with 400 below grade. Built in 1997 also. This was listed at $615, but sold for $635 in only 4 days on market. So you see in the trend, less than a week on market, typically multiple offers selling for over list. When we start seeing 20, 30 days on market, they've had to price cut and they don't have any competition. And I'm willing to bet you the terms that they end up accepting are not as good as these properties that get multiple offers also. And we can look one more. Let's find another. Here's another two houses right across the street from each other. 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,500 square feet, 1.5 acres. This was listed for $359, but sold for $400 after 4 days on market. Right across the street, 3-bed, 2.5 bath, 2,400 square feet on 2.1 acres. So bigger all the way around, built in 1997. Listed for $569, sold for $549 after 25 days on market. So one of the things I just want to point out is that a lot of times people will tell me, oh, my neighbor's house sold for this much, but it really matters if your neighbor's house is comparable to yours. Is it the same size? Is it the same style? Was it built in the same time frame? Is it the same size lot? Is it flat? Is it steep? Are there wetlands? These are all factors that are going to play a role, which is why two houses right across the street from each other can sell for $150,000 difference. So how do I actually determine home value? Great question. Well, I analyze recent comparable sales, and this all depends on how many I have to choose from. What I do is I start with the current address, and then I like to stay within a 1 mile radius in the same town if possible. From there, I'll adjust based on square footage. I like to find properties within a 10% range of the subject property square footage. From there, I like to find the same type. So if your house is a Cape Cod, I like to look for other Cape Cods. If your house is a ranch, I like to look for other ranches. If it's a colonial, I like to look for other colonials. I try to find them built within the same time frame, so like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 2000s. And then I adjust for acreage. Like if we're comparing a 1 acre lot, a house on a 1 acre lot versus a 10 acre lot, they're not very comparable. And if that's all we have, we're going to have to make a large adjustment. Then I'm going to look at buyer demand in that area and in that price range. So for instance, there are many more buyers in the $450,000 price range than in the $1.5 million price range. So that is going to give us an idea of what we could be looking at for days on market realistically when we look the house. Then we'll also take a look at active competition just to see what else is out there in the same price range, because that's the competition that other buyers will likely be looking at when ours goes to market. And then from there, we try to come up with a strategic list price to maximize the amount of views and showings to try to generate multiple offers to get you the best combination of price and terms possible. So hope that helps. Hope that gives you some good information. If you are curious about what your home might realistically sell for in the current Hebron market, feel free to reach out. The best place to start is with a local analysis where you get an estimate as to what the house could be for. Please don't rely on the online estimates. They are a ballpark. As you saw in the earlier examples, they can be $50,000 to $100,000 off, depending on how unique the property is and how different it can be from location to location. So the steps are, you're going to want to talk to a local expert. You're going to want to get an analysis. You're going to talk what your overall strategy is, especially if you're also moving at the same time. And then you're also going to want to talk about a prep plan of what to do to get your house in the best condition for photos, videos, walkthroughs, and all those things before you're ready to list. The whole package, the whole strategy is going to matter on what you ultimately sell for. Now, if you're thinking about selling and you want to get a market analysis to see what your home could sell for, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm based here in Hebron. We help people in the Hebron and the surrounding towns all the time. So feel free to reach out. All my contact info is below. And if you found this helpful, please share it, smash that like button. And if you know anyone else that might find this information helpful that lives in Hebron and the surrounding areas that would help learning how values are determined, please share this with them. And thanks for watching.